Hey everybody, another episode of On the Paint Table. It's my weekly show where you see what I got done, what I'm working on, and what is coming up. So this week, you're not going to see a lot I got done, as I had a short work week this week and primarily spent it playtesting and writing for a new project I'm working on. You'll see a first look. I did get to record a first look for it on Tuesday called Heavy Duty. It's a 6-mil mech combat game. And you'll get to hear more about that soon. Anyway. It's currently being playtested and worked on with the help of my patrons, and I'm working on it in conjunction with Death Ray Designs with their really cool Solar Shift miniatures that are now available. You saw some painted last week, actually. Apart from that, probably already today you saw I did a review of the new Black Templars Codex supplement for 40k, and I got the army set. I got started playing with it and stuff as well. Now, I have a huge Ultramarines army, so I'm probably going to pillage, honestly, some components for my Ultramarines out of here. But I will paint up the character models and the Crusader squad in the hopes that there's going to be a kill team for this. That's the great thing about kill team is an army set like this can be played even just for that. I'm really hoping that comes to be that I can use a Crusader squad and actually build like a kill team out of it. I think it'd be really cool. I did also drag out some of the old stuff that this is all based on. I think one of the really cool things about this army set, because I broke it open and you guys can check it out, I built some of the models too, is that it has a lot of throwbacks and homages, and even on Warhammer Community they spoiled a few miniatures that are based on a really famous John Blanche painting from 3rd edition 40k. I did some building and painting for my Nomads for Corregidor. I'm going to be playing some of that later on next week, and I wanted to finish off my Beyond Crimson Stone box, as well as cracking open the Dire Foes box, the Xanadu Rush, which has Jazz and Billy in it, and an HVT, which you know me, I like to do like an HVT specific for each of my army, so I wanted to have an HVT that was painted to go along with my Nomads, and I'll paint that one to go along with it. So I assembled and primed my second of my 2 Vostocks as well. And last but not least, I managed to get my hands on a really cool treasure. The one Warhammer Historical Legends of the Old West book that I was missing was Showdown, and weirdly, I was just curious. I was like, where would I be able to find this old out of production book? So I did like a quick Google search for like eBay and stuff, and there's actually a Canadian retailer that randomly had it on its shelves at regular price, and I snapped it up. So my Warhammer Historical collection is complete. I've been thinking about it a lot because Jay and I played a bunch of games. And I was like, I wonder what rules I'm missing. Like I could probably scrounge a digital copy, but being able to actually have the copy as, you know, a collector and a completionist was important. So anyway, I'll get a look at what got assembled. I dragged out some cool old stuff to kind of compare and show you where some of the roots of this stuff come from. And you can see what's coming up basically because there's nothing done. All right, well, here's the main thing that showed up this week where I was like, I don't have any time, but I really want to build some of this stuff. It's the Black Templars Army set. This contains a limited edition codex. You get some cool handy data cards for all your ploys and strategies and extra little gizmos that you can play during the course of a mission. And then, a bunch of components. You get 2 frames of the Crusader squad. You get 10 bases to go with them. The bigly huge, what you can see in the review, the bigly huge Primaris Scouts are on 28mm bases, and even their legs are enormous. You get the bits to make basically like a Specialist or a Sword Brethren on here, and a 40mm base for the Sword Brethren, because they're all on giant bases. And then 4 32mm bases to go with the remaining Primaris guys. They are fairly posable, which I really like. Even the Scouts, you look, they're almost built in the old school way, where they have a torso, right? That's like a 2-part torso. That's kind of like the old Scout torso. They have necks, which is a nice bit. Like these guys aren't just like completely neckless like the old ones were, which was not not a fabulous way of building. But these are fairly modular. I am kind of pumped for that. These actually build a lot like old school Space Marines. Torso, Space Marines as far as like the Citadel range go are kind of the most modular, but there are a lot of kind of one format builds. These ones are lots of, look at these individual shoulder bits, hands that are, separate from their bolters. You get a bunch of auto bolters because you don't get the bolt rifles. You get auto bolt rifles. These chainswords for the Scouts, and you do get enough for all the basic configurations. It looks like you get 1, 2, 3, 4 Astraeus chainswords for the Scouts, along with 4 sets of bolt pistols, so you don't have to get them all bolters. I think you get 4 combat shotguns too. You definitely get 4 bolt guns, or bolt carbines, which is the other one. You can have 1, 2, Sorry, it'd be 2 on each frame rather. Yeah, because this is 2 scouts and 2 scouts. So yeah, you get tons. You get plenty for variation. So you can basically, out of this frame, equip them however they can actually be equipped, which is nice. It's a nice sort of like touch. You don't have to buy multiple frames and like mix and match and stuff like that. But look at how big the scout legs are. And maybe because they don't have rickets, they're not like all crouched down. They're even taller looking. But the primary scouts are huge. The initiates rather. Separate pads, and this looks like it should be mostly compatible with the current Black Templar command frame too, that was available for a long time to go with the plastic tactical marines, because the shoulder pads are roughly the same size. That is one thing between the Primaris guys I've noticed and the old like pre-Primaris Space Marines, is the shoulder pads are basically the same. You can pretty much transfer all of that stuff, even the power fists, the power weapons and stuff. The arms aren't that much different. It's really the legs and the stands that make them way taller. And then we got this guy. Look, I dug out his buddy. I've clearly pillaged his arms at some point, but this is I think he was the Skulls captain. There was like a rewards program for 40k for a long time, or just for Games Workshop in North America, where you collect these things called skulls, and this guy could be traded in for like 100 skulls or something like that. And look at he's on the juice. Look at how much bigger the Rubicon Primaris made him. Holy moly. I couldn't help it. I definitely built him. He had a Melta actually before instead of a Flamer, but I built him in the old configuration, so he's the same head, the same power axe, and he had a combi Melta, but this is actually an auto Flamer, a combi auto Flamer. So it's a auto bolt rifle with a flamethrower attachment. And he's a great homage. Like, he's got kind of the same pose. He's leaning into it. Yeah, he's going into a stiff gale like he was before. And I'm pumped to paint him up because I had a couple of these captains. This was like a leftover, I think, that I used the arms from, and so I just had the body lying around. I found the other day. And then we got this guy. I have one still. I sold my Black Templars, so the one that was painted as a Black Templar, but I have a Saracen one that I painted up for my my sort of like not Black Templar army, that is the Juan Diaz Emperor's Champion. But you can just see next to this guy, he's enormous. Like, he's so much bigger, it's ridiculous. And this is like, you know, we're talking 20 years in between these two miniatures. This guy was probably around the same time as this 3rd edition box, which I put here conveniently to show off the sweet John Blanchard, because this was really the first appearance of the Black Templars as like a major faction in 40k. And even the dudes in the back, look at these classy plastics and awesome Dark Eldar. They were the cover art back then, and that's why they got this sweet John Blanche double wide, which is sort of featured all the way through here. So I do like this guy. He's a mono build. You do get a power sword option for him, which might actually be the better one, or a plasma pistol, a different head, and then a big long streamy thing that I left off because it looked like it was just going to break. But I do like he has the kind of like the circlet on his head, and he can wear as well. And then you get a Redemptor. I'm not going to spend too much time on the Redemptor, obviously, because, you know, it's a Redemptor. It's been around for a while. And a sweet transfer sheet. I really wish the Grey Knights had gotten something like this, and I may actually just pillage a bunch of these for my Grey Knights, because these little shield emblems in particular are actually kind of perfect. Obviously a lot of the stuff like the Templar symbols aren't as good, but like the swords and the axes and the little shields and stuff, I may actually pillage for my Grey Knights. And you get lots on here in all kinds of different colors. So I think it's cool. You can do like a standard white shoulder pad with a black Maltese cross, but then they have like skulls ones, and then just like a whole host of like command ones that are all different colors, or you can do them all in red for the Sword Brethren, which I think is just super cool. And then if you want a specific crusade for your heraldry, they've got badges for that. And there's little honor markings and stuff too, and some stuff for your vehicles. The poster card for this is pretty cool. It's the new cover. So that's the new cover versus the old cover. That's the cover that'll be on the actual codex, not the limited edition one. And this is the thing that keeps the miniatures away from the books and stuff that keep getting chipped. But it's a nice little like sort of like total set. It's not that many points. I think it's 100, 220. I think he's 120-ish, so like 400 and change, 450 maybe, and then he's roughly 150 to 200. So you're looking at about 600-700 points. It's a patrol basically. It's almost 1,000 points. It's got way too many HQs, obviously, for a patrol. Like, you've got a lot of points slinging at 2 HQs, but then a big fat Crusader squad of like 10, and then this obviously being the linchpin. You probably want to add a chaplain to this, because the whole codex leads into chaplains. If I was going to make this into 1,000 points, the army set's a pretty good start. You could make a patrol, you'd have 2 HQs, but you'd have to drop one to make it a chaplain, so you want to have to add like 3 HQs, like some regular intercessors and stuff. And the fact they do draw off the codex now means you can take intercessors and you can take assault intercessors. Although this squad is basically like a better assault intercessor squad. You could just paint assault intercessors and like bang them right in there by just adding some of the Templar details, because all of your guys can swap for the same equipment. So I have a bunch actually left over from the Fireteam box set I might actually use just to make this a 15-man or even a 20-man squad. So yeah, if you're trying to look to 1,000 points, you'd want 2 more probably troop choices, and then you could get yourself a chaplain and make this a battalion at 1,000 points, and you'd be ready to rock and roll. And so here is my copy of Xanadu Rush, where I put together the Nomad half. I got my HVT here, and Jazz and Billy, the hacker with a little remote, my other Vostok, and my finally founded, Jordan had one, Operation Ice Storm Mo Regatta. So I don't have to have the world's most obvious lieutenant, because there's only 3 lieutenant choices in all of Corregidor. I got a Wildcat to paint up with the Sweet AP Spitfire and NCO. And of course my last Vostok, he's just primed off the base here. I'm using a Rust-Oleum dark gray primer just to get everything adhered, and then I'll go through my airbrush and do a little bit of airbrushing highlights before I start painting. Last but not least, the Showdown, Legend of the Old West. Oh my god, I was so excited I found this. Look, you get a Badlands map. You can have the Masked Avenger, 1920s Gangster with a Tommy gun, because you actually take this to the 20s too. All kinds of cool stuff in here. And this was kind of the final supplement. There's even some cool hobby stuff for like making adobe buildings and like dioramas and stuff as well. I love the Unknown Gunfighter. Look at that. Yeah, it's a little Sergio Leone stuff there. Beautiful painting. It's just a great thing to have as part of my collection. And yeah, Prohibition era Chicago you can play in as well. Gangs of New York, Gangs of America. Look, it's Bill the Butcher. Literally, there's a Bill the Butcher miniature there. Ah, so good. I'm so glad I found this. Just a cool collection to complete my Legend of the Old West sort of like periodical stuff that I own. And of course, we'll try and feature some of it in an upcoming episode of Legend of the Old West. So you're not the world's most productive week painting-wise, but I assembled some stuff, got it primed, got it ready to paint, did a whole bunch of writing, and worked on a new project, which was exciting, and hopefully you guys can enjoy checking it out on Tuesday. Anyway, we'll see you for more on the paint table next week to see if I actually get something done. Till next time, Ash. Happy wargaming. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look to the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Desperate Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.